Welcome to VVork. This is the continuation of video series where we're discussing containers, Docker, Kubernetes, and VMware PKS with Marc Alumbaugh. In this video, Marc will discuss the NSX-T Container Network Interface. Let's get started.
So how does this actually look architecturally? Architecturally, how this looks is when you do enterprise PKS, NSX-T is implementing this thing called the Container Networking Interface. The Container Networking Interface is a Kubernetes standard that allows any networking vendor to plug in their networking solution. NSX-T is implementing it using that same plugin architecture. And what we're actually doing here is each of your pods functionally have a distributed firewall in frod of them. So if you know NSX, you're very familiar with the distributed firewall that's living right outside your virtual machine. We've taken that same architecture and we've applied it now to containers. So on the top of this picture up here is really more of a physical style connection. You've got a logical switch, and in your logical switch, you've got a port, and on that port, you have a wire that's taking it down to either the virtual machine or in this case, our pod. We're implementing right off of that the same style wiretap that we're used to in NSX, only we call it a CIF, a container interface, versus in NSX-T for a virtual machine, it's actually called a VIF. We now call it a CIF. That CIF is where the distributed firewall physically lives at. And if you're familiar with some of the NSX commands of summarize DV filter and vsip IO control, those exact same commands will work for you out here for your containers. Physically, this is where it's living at. Logically, this is how it's being implemented inside your worker node. So all I'm trying to illustrate for you here is physically it lives here, logically it's living down here. And the most important thing to realize about this is what you're getting is you're getting a DFW that you can implement in front of every single one of your containers or pods. So to summarize, here's kind of your choices. You could build Kubernetes what we'll refer to as the hard way. The hard way is kind of like building your own PC. You're going to have to choose your own case, your own, power supply, your own video card, your own motherboard, your own hard disk. And you're going to say, okay, does all this stuff work together? Does it all integrate well? How do I manage all of it? Or enterprise PKS is a little bit like buying, a pre-made computer or a pre-made car. What it looks like that we've covered is here's all those layers that you're going to have to deal with over here. You've got to deal with your container registry. Obviously this is Kubernetes sitting inside here, so that's a given. But all these respective other areas you're going to have to deal with, where if you use the enterprise PKS, these solutions for you are pre-bundled. We know they work. We've got an integration point clearly defined, and you get support from VMware as well. So Brian, hopefully that's helped your VVork subscribers to understand what enterprise PKS is about.
Yes, Marc, you've provided us with a wealth of information. For everyone who's watching this video, if you have further questions about PKS or other areas of PKS that you're interested in hearing about, please let us know down in the YouTube comment section. But once again, I'd like to thank Marc for his time and his willingness to share his information about PKS with us all. Thank you, Marc. This wraps up our interview with Marc Alumbaugh. If there's more you'd like to know about VMware PKS, let us know in the YouTube comments below.